I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, July the 29th, 2014. The IDF suffered heavy losses yesterday. 5 IDF soldiers were killed in an attempted infiltration through a terror tunnel from Gaza. During the incident last night, a terrorist cell from Gaza came out of a tunnel near Kibbutz Nahal Oz and fired an anti-tank missile at an IDF watchtower, killing the 5 soldiers. The IDF also said that one of the terrorists tried to kidnap one of the soldiers' bodies. He was shot and killed by IDF forces. Yesterday, we had reported to you that 4 Israelis were killed by rocket fire earlier yesterday from Gaza near the border. The 4 were later confirmed to be IDF soldiers, and an additional soldier was killed in a separate incident a short while later. In total, 10 IDF soldiers were killed yesterday, bringing the IDF casualties to 53 on the 21st day of Operation Protective Edge. And rockets continued to be fired today from Gaza, landing in southern and central Israel. The IDF hit back at Hamas overnight heavily last night, striking over 70 terror targets in Gaza, including the home and offices of head of Hamas's political wing, Ismail Haniyeh. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the people of Israel last night in a televised speech that stressed that any solution to the conflict must include the demilitarization of Gaza, specifically the destruction of the terror tunnels, and that the international community must demand this as well. The Jerusalem Post reports that PLO official Yasser Abed Rabo said today that Palestinian factions were ready to announce a unilateral 72-hour ceasefire. The PA said it had received assurances from Hamas and Islamic Jihad that they would agree to a 24-hour halt in fire that could then be extended by another 48 hours. However, there have also been reports that spokespersons for Hamas have denied agreeing to any such truce. Yesterday, tens of thousands gathered in Washington and New York City to stand and show their solidarity with Israel. In Washington, the National Leadership Assembly, convened by the Conference of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations, was addressed by Speaker of the House John Boehner, Israel's ambassador to the U.S. Ron Dermer, as well as congressional leaders including Representatives Kevin McCarthy, Steny Hoyer, and Ed Royce, and by U.S. National Security Advisor Susan Rice, who reaffirmed that the U.S. had Israel's back. Rice said this is a time of worry for all who care about Israel, but here's one thing you never have to worry about: America's support for the State of Israel. Rice also praised recent efforts by U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and dismissed criticism of Kerry from Israel that his latest ceasefire draft proposal was not favorable towards Israel as a distortion of the facts. And in New York, at least 10,000 turned out for the New York Stands with Israel rally near the UN. Speakers included Senator Chuck Schumer, Consul General of Israel in New York, Ambassador Ido Aharoni, and Israel's ambassador to the UN, Ron Persor, as well as New York Congressman Eliot Engel, who said to the crowd, "I bring good news in Congress. Support for Israel is strong and it is bipartisan, and that's how it should be." The rally was organized by the UJA Federation of New York and the Jewish Community Relations Council of New York, and also by the Conference of Presidents, the New York Board of Rabbis, the Union for Reform Judaism, the United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism, the National Council of Young Israel, and the Orthodox Union. French news agency AFP reports that Mehdi Nemouche, the suspected shooter at the Jewish Museum in Brussels, has been handed over by France to Belgium. The 29-year-old French-Algerian man is suspected of the deadly shooting on May the 24th, which left 4 people dead, including an Israeli couple. He was arrested 6 days later in Marseille by French police and has been fighting extradition to Belgium, but reportedly dropped his objections after being assured that he would not then be extradited from Belgium to another country like Israel. Director of the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism, Rabbi David Saperstein, has been nominated Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, Department of State. President Barack Obama announced his intent to nominate Saperstein for the key administration post yesterday. Jewish organizations welcomed the nomination. President of the Jewish Council for Public Affairs, Rabbi Steve Guto, said every day the news is filled with troubling stories of religious persecution, anti-Jewish riots in Paris, forced conversion or exile of Christians in Iraq, and anti-Muslim violence in Burma. He said there could be no better person to lead our nation's efforts to make this world a safer place for people of faith, particularly religious minorities. Executive Vice President of the Rabbinical Assembly, the International Association of Conservative Rabbis, Rabbi Julie Schoenfeld said of Saperstein, "We are confident that he will use this position to advance the important cause of religious freedom, and that his work will be a great blessing both for him and for the State Department." And turning now to our Shalom TV programming for tonight, July the 29th. Coming up at 8 o'clock, the closing session of the American Jewish Committee's 2014 Global Forum with speakers AJC Executive Director David Harris and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. And then at 9 tonight, the Professor of Law at Northwestern University, Eugene Koncharovich, joins Mark Golub on L'chaim. That's here on Shalom TV and ShalomTV.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, July the 29th, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.